today's top boxing news.
Okay, we'll start with this. Ben Shalom explains why Lauren Price versus Michaela Mayer undisputed bout fell apart. Fresh from an excellent points win over Natasha Jonas to headline boxers' historic all-women's card at the Royal Albert Hall back in March, unified welterweight champion Lauren Price had a keen eye on Michaela Mayer versus Sandy Ryan too later that same month. After all, she was determined to face the winner and secure an undisputed matchup in the process. Mayer prevailed in a repeat decision win, as the Welsh woman predicted, but there was then no traction on brokering a deal between the two sides. Price had eyed a return in August outdoors in the Welsh capital of Cardiff, where she beat Mayer's compatriot and former two-weight world champion Jessica McCaskill in the previous year, but that proved an optimistic timeline. Boxer and Top Rank had their respective TV deals with Sky and ESPN expire over the summer, making it harder to find a broadcaster willing to pay the requisite figures needed for an undisputed world title fight, which didn't seem likely even a year earlier. Mayer, 21-2 with 5 knockouts, has been unequivocal about not waiting for fighters or opportunities to present themselves, instead taking on all challenges making the most sense. It's why she will move up another weight division to face WBA champion of Canada, Mary Spencer, as the headline attraction of an Eye of the Tiger show in Montreal later next month on the 30th. Esteemed amateur and 2012 Olympian, Spencer has been the beneficiary of a weakened class of contenders at junior middle since undisputed champion Clarissa Shields departed for good back in 2021. Mayer, given her championship experience, will head into next month's matchup as the favorite and seek to make history herself before assessing her options, including a potential showdown with her former Olympic teammate. In a press conference, the 35-year-old addressed the landscape by saying, "I couldn't get the undisputed fight with Lauren, so rather than take an easy touch, I looked for the next best challenge. I'll dethrone Mary and then head back down to welterweight to challenge Price." When asked about the forthcoming plan for Price, Shalom told The Ring, "We've been speaking to her. She had a little injury which kept her out longer than expected, but will be back in November. We're planning a big fight for her now. We wanted Michaela, but the terms and money have to be right. Everything needs to align, and it felt like she didn't want to come back to the UK. The money for this fight is in Cardiff. I don't think it does the same anywhere else. If we can make it, it involves Michaela coming here, and for the moment, she's not willing to." That line of thinking matches what Price told The Ring in April, that as far as selling tickets was concerned, the fight would draw more interest in Cardiff compared to anywhere else. If Mayer's top-rank handlers lured her into accepting a stateside showdown, it would cost more money and without a broadcast deal. They could not afford to take the risk. That is according to Ben Shalom, but the same is true in reverse. They couldn't afford to bring Michaela Mayer to Cardiff without Sky Sports behind them. They lost their broadcaster this summer too. Do you think you're going to get Michaela to come back to the UK for peanuts on the dollar? By now it's established they're not getting from BBC what they used to get from Sky Sports. This is a reduced budget. They are operating at a reduced capacity, and Michaela Mayer's not going to go over there on the cheap. After the Mary Spencer fight that I anticipate she's going to win, she's going to have to make a decision. She says that after she wins that fight, she's going to drop that belt and move back down to 147. I present an alternative. You drop back down to 147. There's no guarantee that the situation improves, that the situation changes. Boxers still going to be operating at a limited capacity with limited money to offer you to go to the UK. But if you stay at 154, after beating Mary, you can then target the winner of Kozin versus Breakus for 2 out of 4 titles in the junior middleweight division, with what could be Michaela Mayer's WBA title. That would make 3. Michaela Mayer would be the A-side fighter over the winner of Kozin versus Breakus, and what would arguably be a more winnable fight than a Lauren Price fight. The whole point of the Price fight is unifying alphabet titles. You can unify with the winner of that fight. Moreover, unifying with the winner of that fight, it doesn't kill the Lauren Price fight. It pushes it out. It pushes it back. It prolongs it. Lauren's not gonna stay at 147 forever, least of all if there are no big fights there. She's gonna have to move up sooner or later. If and when she does, if you're already unified champion, that gives you leverage over her. In this fixed scenario, there would only be two options for Lauren Price should she move up to 154. Either you fight Michaela Mayer for 3 of the 4 alphabet titles at that weight, or you fight O'Shea Jones, the only other champion at that weight. In that situation, I think Lauren would be forced to deal with Michaela. The only caveat with this play is that the WBO doesn't let their champions hold multiple titles at multiple weights, so if she picks up the WBA, they're gonna give her an ultimatum shortly after the fight, and she's gonna have to make a decision in a hurry. Does she stay at 154 and wait the situation out, or does she drop back down to welter? That is the alternative, though. Instead of trying to do the fight with Lauren at 147, you can get the drop on her at 154. Get a head start because she's going to move up there eventually. Just some things to consider.
Why Jake Paul as opposed to a rematch with Lamont Roach?
It just, I don't want to put a lot out there, but it just, doing what's best for me and what's right for me. And I've been doing this for a little minute now. I've been doing it since I was 7 years old. So this is the first camp I can, enjoy myself and be back myself. Even leading up to, the rematch of the Roach fight, it was more so I don't want to get too much in it, but
You know that he almost sounds punch drunk? And I would believe that he was, except Gervonta Davis hasn't been in very many, if any, ring wars. He hasn't. He literally hasn't. He hasn't had any Gaddy versus Ward kind of wars. He literally hasn't, yet he struggles greatly to get out a coherent sentence while avoiding the question because he didn't give Brian Custer an actual answer. What do you think it is? Why he struggles to get out a sentence? Oh, that's because he's stupid. That's because he's uneducated and stupid, and his implants are too big for his mouth. It's not because he's a boxer. There are plenty of eloquent boxers that have been there and done that and had their wars, and they can still get out a coherent sentence. It's not because he's a boxer, and it's not because he's punch drunk. He's not punch drunk. He's just stupid. He's already stupid, and his veneers are too big for his mouth. So he stutters and fumbles his words and pauses and tries to find creative ways around the question because he never actually answered it. Why Jake Paul and not Lamont Roach? You won't get the answer from Gervonta, even though the answer is obvious. It was not an either-or situation. You could have fought Lamont again over the summer months, then did what you need to do with Jake in the fall. It was not an either-or situation. The real reason he didn't fight Lamont is because he knows he lost the first fight and he was not confident that he could win the second. He was not confident that he would be able to figure him out. That's the answer. That's what it is.
Gervonta, a lot of boxing fans aren't happy with the fact you've taken this fight rather than the Roach rematch, fights with the likes of Shakur, Devin Haney, Teofimo, etc. What do you make of that reaction? And can we still expect to see those fights?
Why should I care what they think? When y'all switch somebody can have a bad day and y'all switching on who y'all favorite fighter is or who this person is supposed to fight. Y'all need to sit back and be fans and just enjoy the sport. Y'all even talk about people's personal lives. Why when it come to that?
Can we still expect to see any of those fights in the future, though?
And y'all keep talking about fighting somebody. Didn't he just have a fight? Didn't he just have a fight? And what happened? What happened? What happened? He won, right? But how he look in it? Exactly. But y'all say some different shit when it's me, right? Because y'all want me to lose. When y'all see people in that limelight too long, they want to take that they want somebody else to come take that spot. That's why it's always come on, bro. That's what happened with Floyd. Y'all seen him too much, and once y'all seen him so much, y'all start hating on It turned from love to hate.
The token Mayweather reference that all these morons love to bring up, it's like boxing begins and ends with Floyd Mayweather for all of these idiots, even Gervonta. Fucking idiot. He had the nerve to ask, how did Shakur Stevenson look in his last fight? He looked better than you! Nobody thought Shakur robbed William Zepeda, but they did think you robbed Lamont Roach.
Cause y'all want me to lose when y'all want me to lose when y'all want me to lose when
His interpretation of a member of the media asking him about Shakur is that the member of the media wants him to lose. That says more about Gervonta's perception of the fight than the media members. You think you're gonna lose, and that's why you won't have that fight under any circumstances. It was just the other day, Stefan Espinoza sat down on Sway's podcast alongside Shakur Stevenson, freestyling, making up shit, running spin for Gervonta Davis, where Gervonta Davis always blows off the idea that he should fight Shakur. Stefan said the opposite.
Am I in the plans? Because I want the fight.
I'll tell you this. Tank has definitely said repeatedly, I want to fight Shakur.
If that's the case, if I'm a free agent now, I'm doing whatever I want, I'm going here fighting these guys, am I in the plans?
And where is he at in the 6-fight deal? Is his third fight or something like that with Tank?
It's a good question.
It's early. It might be two or three fights in.
You sure you're not freestyling? I think you're freestyling. I do blame you for also saying that y'all sent the contract to me.
Oh, no. Okay. See, I told
I get straight to it, bro.
No. And then never said, he said, look, there were exploratory discussions. That was it. Like, nobody sent a contract.
But everybody kind of took that
as you know how it is. You say he's flexible, you're flexible. I don't see why it wouldn't happen.
I do. I see why it wouldn't happen. It wouldn't happen because Gervonta doesn't want it to happen. He didn't want it to happen before. I sincerely doubt he's going to want it to happen after this Jake Paul thing. So why is everybody still playing dumb? They're trying so hard to save face for Gervonta Davis, who doesn't give a damn what they think. He doesn't give a damn what they want. Some of his biggest online supporters are already starting to turn on him based on his behavior. Guys who spend night and day defending this fraud, defending this clown, are now the ones asking the hard questions. And you think that he's gonna stick around after the Jake Paul exhibition or whatever it is to answer those questions, to deal with it and face the music? I'm telling you, this could be the last time you see Gervonta Davis in a boxing ring. Because he's a fucking coward. And he was always a coward. In men's heavyweight news, veteran fighter Luis Ortiz is pushing for fights against elite heavyweights, Orlando, Florida. If it were up to Luis Ortiz, the final chapter of his career would see him matched up against some of the elite heavyweights. The two-time former title challenger took a step in the right direction to making that happen as he blasted out an overmatched Philippe Penson in the first round this past Friday at the Caribe Royale. After the dominating showing, Ortiz, 46, called for important fights. I think in my mind, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, Daniel Dubois, Moses Itauma, I'm ready for everybody, Ortiz told the ring. It didn't take long for Ortiz to get on the front foot and take control of the fight against Penson. After Penson, 8-5-3 with 2 knockouts, slipped trying to move away from Ortiz along the ropes, he was sent back to the canvas from a straight left to the chest from the Cuban southpaw. After Penson got to his feet, Ortiz positioned him along the ropes and landed a devastating straight left that put him on the canvas for good with 1:06 left in the opening round. It's important to note that this was not a PBC show or affiliated with PBC in any way. It would seem that the PBC have abandoned ship in the heavyweight division. They have withdrawn, and whatever heavyweights they used to have are left to fend for themselves. I also think it's a testament to the times that every single fighter that Luis Ortiz called out is across the pond, is across the Atlantic Ocean. He called out 4 guys, 3 of which are from the United Kingdom: Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Moses Itauma. And while Usyk is Ukrainian, he's spent so much time in the UK over the years, he may as well be from there himself. You notice that not a single American was called out. He's more interested in fighting a British prospect than an American one. I mean, why didn't he call out Richard Torres? Gives you a good idea of where the money is in the heavyweight division. I'm really happy for this opportunity, Ortiz said. I'm good mentally, my body feels good, I'm with my family, I'm happy. This was Ortiz's first fight since January of last year, which he also won by way of first-round knockout against Francisco Cordero. He hopes to return to the ring again in 3 months.
You know, I'm not actually against him fighting Anthony Joshua. There's a bit of backstory there, a bit of history. I wouldn't mind seeing Anthony or Usyk deal with this guy, but the reality is, Luis Ortiz is not on their radar. At this point in their careers, he is not a priority. He's not important. Now, the other two names that he mentioned, Daniel Dubois, Moses Itauma, I could go for those fights too. We know that Daniel is on the bounce after his knockout loss to Usyk in what was their rematch. And I wouldn't mind seeing Daniel get back in the winner's bracket by steamrolling this old man. It's the same with Moses. Moses is a fighter who is very much still developing. He's showing so many elite level qualities already so early in his career. What is it? 12 to 13 fights in? And a fight with a guy like Luis Ortiz, I think, is just what the doctor ordered. A fight with a guy who's seasoned, been around the block, won some fights and lost some fights, and challenged for one or some alphabet titles. That's the kind of fight that Moses needs to be in right now.
A fight with Luis Ortiz would be no worse than the fight that he just had with Dillian White. I suspect that the fight with Luis would end the same way.
Oh yeah, Moses knocks him out.
But as stated, Luis Ortiz calling out this particular group of fighters, all of which are based outside of America, lets you know where all the money is. Used to be that foreign fighters would travel to America to face Americans who had a lot of money behind them. They would travel to America for opportunities. This is not your father's era of boxing. All the money in the heavyweight division, all of it, if not most of it, is either in the UK or other parts of Europe.
Luis Ortiz knows that. That's why you didn't see him call out any Americans. You didn't call out Jermaine Franklin. You didn't call out Richard Torres.
We'll see if somebody bites, if somebody decides to give Luis Ortiz the time of day.